Hello and welcome to GLJ Specials. My name is Gilad Abiri and I'm an editor-in-chief of the German Law Journal. In this episode, I'm very glad to welcome Gilad Abiri, Xin Dai, and Emanuel Towfigh. Gilad Abiri is Associate Professor of Law and Co-Director of the Program on Law and Innovation at Peking University School of Transnational Law. He's an affiliated faculty fellow at Yale Law School's Information Society Project and a senior research affiliate at Singapore Management University's Digital Law Center. And he's an editor of the German Law Journal. Xin Dai is Associate Professor and Vice Dean for International Affairs at the Peking University Law School and affiliated to the Peking University Huan Institute for Artificial Intelligence. Emanuel Towfigh is Professor in Law and Economics at the EBS Law School. He is Distinguished Scholar in Residence at the Peking University School of Transnational Law, as well as Max Planck Fellow and Head of the Center for Diversity in Law. Emanuel is also an editor-in-chief of the German Law Journal. Today, we're going to talk about the special issue they have co-edited and that was just published on the GLJ with the title Comparative AI Law, Regulating the Future. Emanuel, what motivated you to do a special issue on AI and how did you select the contributions for this special issue?
First of all, thank you very much for having us, Clara. It's beautiful to be here and to talk about our special issue. Well, it was a great endeavor that Gilad, Xin, and I had when we were first planning on a conference, in fact, in Shenzhen at the Peking University School of Transnational Law, where we wanted to bring together voices from all over the world, from China, from Europe, from the US, from Australia, to talk about artificial intelligence and to talk about regulating artificial intelligence from a comparative lens. Our feeling was that talking about AI and regulating AI was a lot seen from a race perspective. It was a race of the systems. And we actually agreed and thought that it would be better to not have this race mindset, but have a collaborative mindset and think how we as humanity within different systems and from different angles should come together and regulate this great tool, which is at the same time a great challenge for us. So that was the idea when we started thinking, conceptualizing, and actually eventually organizing this conference. And then we thought, well, with so many scholars from all over the world, it would be a pity not to publish the proceedings of this conference. So the German Law Journal has this call for special issues every year. And we decided we're going to send a pitch and suggest to publish the conference proceedings. And then it went through the selection process for special issues, which happens annually. And we were happy to get that the special issue and that our proposal got selected. And here we are with 15 articles and 334 pages on regulating AI from a comparative lens in an optimal value for this perspective and this angle we're taking on the topic for the stance we have, I think. So we were thrilled that the German Law Journal accepted this proposal. And on the other hand, I think it's a great fit also for the German Law Journal.
We're very happy about that. Thank you, Emanuel. So Gilad, what are the most important insights in this special issue?
So thank you, Clara, for having us here. And it was such a pleasure working with the German Law Journal on this special volume. So there are a lot of ideas in this. It's a very diverse special volume that includes many, many different legal fields, many jurisdictions, and different methodologies, if you want, of law. So I won't go into the details of that, but I will try and say something more macro, more big. So I think one of the things that we've learned from reading and working on this conference and on these papers is that we're in a kind of moment in time that one can call it, I'm a constitutional lawyer, so I'll call it a constitutional moment, where you have technology moving very, very, very fast and challenging a lot of different things in law, some in very fundamental ways. And then law and scholars like us try and catch up and try and understand what to do about it in different ways. And a lot of the decisions that are made, this is a lot of the papers show this, a lot of the decisions that are made, these constitutional decisions are made in corporate boardrooms by engineers with not a lot of involvement by policymakers and us. And therefore, this type of discussions become very, very important to have. That's one. The second maybe insight is related, which is that this is happening now and it's happening very, very fast, and it's important. And therefore, we have to, again, have discussions about this on a level of both understanding the technology that is constantly moving, understanding what is at stake, and trying to figure out solutions to problems, even if we don't always think that they're politically feasible. The conversation by itself, I think, is very, very valuable. And third, and I think this is unique potentially to this volume, and this refers a little bit to what Emanuel was talking about, the race narrative, is that a lot of this are common action problems, fundamentally. And a lot of these are similar problems. So it's true that there are different systems and different systems have different values and sometimes they have different ways of going about things. But, everyone's IP regime is being demolished. Everyone's, liability regime is not working anymore. Everyone's content moderation regime or kind of speech regulation regime doesn't work anymore. And therefore, not having this conversation, not being in the same room, not discussing the problems respectfully and seriously, kind of undermines our ability to learn from other people's experiments, even if we don't take some of what they do. And just saying we're doing it our way and it's the best way and we can't learn from anyone else. In fact, in this situation where you have such a constitutional moment and such a challenging moment to an extent, or a hopeful moment, but challenging and hopeful, the only way for us to actually deal with it is to be in deep debate, deep discussion, take each other seriously and in good faith, not kind of follow orthodoxies and go into all sorts of narratives that are just undermining our ability to talk and exchange ideas. So I think that's kind of the heart of what I see in the volume without going into specific ideas. And thank you again, Clara, for having us.
Thank you, Gilad. Now we look into the future. Xin, where do we go from here? Which further research is needed?
Well, thanks, Clara, for having us. Really also, I do appreciate German Law Journal will actually support this special volume. I think this actually speaks a lot about what we actually should do in the future. I would actually have two aspects to say, in response to this question. The first is I do think it's really important that we keep this sort of transnational research collaborative projects going. It's not that in the current world, and a lot of people are doing international comparative, spirited research. But I think we should never say we are already having enough of them. Instead, we're still very much in short of good quality comparative and transnational collaborative research projects. Really, just as Gilad said, lots of insight could come in out of from these kind of projects. I mean, especially I think for this special issue of German Law Journal, it's really remarkable that I think we haven't really seen very often that English language academic journal with this leading a very good standing will actually have a special issue that have so many Chinese participants contributing to one issue as a collective, right? So each of them have different topics. Each of them have different, expertise in their research. But collectively speaking, I think this special issue definitely presents a very good picture to the English-speaking world, scholars, for them to see what's on the minds of Chinese research community, what kind of ideas that potentially might actually be of value for anybody who's interested in AI governance regulation in general. So I think definitely, I hope these kind of efforts will, keep being, made, keep being, these kind of platforms are keep being offered to Chinese scholars. Definitely, for Chinese scholars, right now there are a lot of good ideas coming out of the very lively practice on the ground, right? So I think which would be of interest to the international community. It's just that we would need to have a great platforms such as German Law Journal. So this is the first thing I think we should keep doing in the future. The second thing I think we should be really doing in the future is somehow turn our attention from how AI is affecting the world in general to how AI is actually impacting or making very great and serious impact and challenges to our own profession as scholars and law teachers. I think actually compare with the outside world, our profession, the line of thing that we're actually doing is facing even bigger challenges. In the future, what kind of legal professions we want to train, or what kind of researches are still worth doing, with such a capable tools that keep coming out day in, day out. So I think, we're glad that actually this coming summer, we're actually organizing a second workshop among Chinese scholars and European scholars at EBS, thanks to the great efforts by Emanuel. So, there we're going to talk about these kind of things which really affecting us, but also I think, will have a lot of implications to how the world, respond to the challenges of new technology in general. So I'm really looking forward, to that workshop, and hopefully we also get something great out of that conversation.
And we are looking forward to it too. Thank you, Xin. Now I have some you questions for the three of you. I'll start with Gilad. Gilad, what is your ideal work setting?
Oh, that's a good question. So I'll be a little bit sappy and say that working with Emanuel and Xin was very, very close to my ideal work setting, in the sense that it was incredibly efficient and kind of purpose driven. People had opinions and they expressed their opinions, but they did that with very little ego and zero drama, right? And it was, just a joy, just to think that it was very fun, nice to do, had meaning in the end, which is very important for, work, to not be alienated. And I think this volume is an incredible product, and I'm very proud of it. So that is kind of, I think, a good ideal type, in fact, of my ideal work environment. So yeah.
Very nice to hear. Okay, well, Xin, what would you have become if you hadn't gone into academia?
Well, before I got into academia, I was actually practicing as a lawyer. So the most natural answer seems to be that I would have been a practicing lawyer, instead. But actually, as I think about it a little bit more, actually, I wouldn't have imagined myself practicing as a lawyer, even if I didn't, come to the academia. So maybe I would have pursued my childhood dream of actually writing the best novel, of modern Chinese society. But actually, one thing I thought about, I really have been thinking about doing is writing a novel about, a legal academia right now, right? That sounds like a very fun topic, but if I, if I weren't actually teaching and, actually working in academia, I would have been writing this, novel already. But right now, that plan seems
Stay tuned.
have to be postponed to sometime after I retire.
We have to turn to publishing novels on the German Law Journal. Great, nice. Emanuel, a question for you. What is the best advice you've ever got?
That's a good one. That's a hard one. Maybe I'll think about advice I got for my academic life, and namely on teaching. And that was actually by the founder of the German Law Journal, Russ Miller. And I think he in turn got it from some mentor of his, but it stuck with me. And it's three pieces of advice, actually. The first one is never, if you're a young scholar, never read your evaluations, because you're trying your best anyways, and they're just going to frustrate you, whatever is in there. So don't read them. Second piece of advice was you don't need to drink the whole bottle to know the milk is sour. Go for short exams. And I think that's a very good bit of advice as well. And the third one was in the classroom, authenticity is key. and you can't learn early enough to fake it. So that's the 3 bits of advice I got for teaching. And maybe in the setting of the German Law Journal, this is very befitting.
Thank you, Emmanuel. We'll take these advices as well. Well, I guess we are at the end of our GLJ special of today. Thank you very much, Xin, Gilad, and Emmanuel, for being here today.
Thank you for having us, Clara.